about what's going on right now in the economy, there are two issues that you need to be aware of, and a third that you're not paying attention to. The first issue, obviously, is the coronavirus. And the first thing that we need to understand is that there was a 2-week missed opportunity that the administration simply did not act on to kind of generate this new sort of response that was needed. We're now playing catch up. You're always going to be playing catch up, though. If you listen to medical experts, you're always playing catch up with a disease like this. The problem is, though, any kind of surge in people getting hospitalized, dying from complications from this disease, and there will be probably by mid-April, very, very many. Something I think it's going to look more like Italy than South Korea, unfortunately, in terms of the response. Trump's going to get blamed. The economy is going to keep sputtering. David Goldman has told his readers, don't buy the dip this time. It's because we're not quite there yet. I do think eventually, by mid-May, June, as the warmer weather heats up, things are going to get better. The disease will still be around us, but it's not going to be as bad. The economy will be able to return to some semblance of normal. Of course, that's going to require government action to try to help the small businesses that have been hit, to help people, workers who had to take off work, et cetera, et cetera. They're going to have to do things to help the industries like the airline industry. Capital infusion is what they're talking about. These are all things they're going to have to do, and it's going to have economic implications. You're going to be looking at slower than normal growth rates. Leading into quarter three, you might have a recession, as Nouriel Roubini was warning the people at CNBC. And the reason is because you've had a turgid quarter one growth rate. You're going to have mixed growth rates, I think, in quarter two. And then you're going to pile on the fact that as the temperature cools down in the fall and winter months again, coronavirus, unless there is a cure, the coronavirus will come back. And we're going to have a similar response, I think, which will have political implications because the election will be going on then. So that's something to keep in mind. The second issue to keep in mind is the oil war, price war going on between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the Russian Federation. The Russians, I think, are trying to kill the American shale industry, which is actually, despite being so powerful, there's a lot of debt in it. The companies that have been investing in it are getting out and looking to get involved in offshore drilling because of this debt load issue in the American shale sector. And so I think the Russians sense weakness. The Russians are also trying to stick it to the Saudis, who are allied with the United States, and the Russians are trying to help their Iranian friends who are on their last knees right now. And the Americans have been bombing. I wrote about this at American Greatness. They've been bombing the Iranian positions in Iraq after the Iranian-backed militias there killed American and British troops last week. That's also causing an issue. And then the third issue is going to be Deutsche Bank. We're monitoring. The Weichert report has been talking about this on its social media accounts. I've been talking to people about this. Deutsche Bank right now is looking very weak. It's one of the big banks. It's like Goldman Sachs. It's like Citigroup. I think there's something like $49.1 trillion that Deutsche Bank right now has in the derivatives market, and they're not worth that much. And so they're facing, as this coronavirus sort of ripples through the economy and causes all this slowdown and really kind of highlights the inherent weaknesses of the overall economic situation. There is a chance that Deutsche Bank may be in the process of collapsing. We could be looking at a Lehman Brothers type event. Now, if that were to happen, that's when this sort of inconvenient, potentially temporary, 6 to 8 week coronavirus ordeal suddenly becomes something else entirely. The upside is, and I've spoken with people in the banking community about this, is that the upside is that Deutsche Bank is one of Germany's main banks. It is a massive bank. It's a European bank. And the European Central Bank has a lot more maneuvering room than even the central bank here does, the Federal Reserve does. It is going to take drastic actions. Furthermore, because Deutsche Bank is a German institution, and Germany, let's face it, is the de facto head of the European Union, there's no way that the European Central Bank is going to let Deutsche Bank collapse without a significant fight. The question is, and that I have yet to answer or get an answer from people in the banking sector, I've spoken to people like Spangler over at Asia Times, and he thinks that there's going to be massive, propping up of this bank. They're going to do whatever it takes. It is far too big to fail. And he's right, it's too big to fail. Unfortunately, though, I don't know, how much is too much. Are they going to be able to do this? Are they, if Deutsche really does start to slide the way Lehman Brothers did, how deep are the ECB's pockets? Now, Spangler tells me, look, they can print as much money and infuse as much money as necessary. I think that's right, but at what cost? And so it's going to be interesting to watch. And so people should be watching out for these geopolitical and geoeconomic trends, because I think the issue of coronavirus feeding into the price war for oil, feeding into potentially a Deutsche Bank kind of teetering on the brink of collapse, could be the three biggest sort of geopolitical and economic stories of 2020. For more information, check out the Weichert Report, WEICHERT report.com. Also, stay tuned for my new book coming out from Republic Book Publishers this fall, Winning Space, How America Remains a Space Superpower. We're going to be talking about the second space race with China, the technology war right now, unconventional technology threats posed by China, Russia, North Korea, and Iran, and sort of some of the other countries out there like India and Brazil who are starting to do, and Japan, who are starting to do some really interesting things both in space and in the wider technology sector, and kind of what we can do to partner with them and how we can better compete overall and remain that dominant power.